Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined again by the CEO of PropertyMark, Tim Balcon. Thank you for joining me today, Tim. With regulation on the horizon and ROPA, the question I want to ask is PropertyMark a trade membership body or a consumer body regulator? Talk to me.
It's a professional body for members.
Right. So the first one, trade membership. Okay.
So
You have no... So, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, you're very good at that. I mean, let's be honest, if it wasn't for, and I will sing his praises, Mark Hayward got the rates thing through. And that was for both estate agents and letting agents, whether you are, and the rate relief. You know, you're not very good, if you don't mind me saying it, shouting about how good you are, if you are a trade members organisation in the past. I know you've only just come on board.
So we have a clear plan going forward, and that's something that I took to the board, and the board have embraced the vision of a professional body, and that means that we can now solely focus on our members, and we have some fabulous services, and actually we'll still do those services, but our primary focus is being a professional body for our members with professional standards at the middle, and then it's about using those services to support them as individuals as in their learning, but also in their profession, because they'll perhaps need some support as well.
So you have no want or need to be a regulator?
Regulatory is part of the agenda, you know, and this is an agenda that's brought to us by government. So yes, we will play a role there to make sure that there's a regulator that's effective and does the job that we think it needs to do. So what we're trying to be mindful of is whenever we let government impose regulation on a sector, and I've got experience of this prior, it's always a blunt tool, and it doesn't give us necessarily what we're asking for. So what we want to do, and we play an active part in this, is to make sure that government are better informed so that the regulatory outcome achieve the purpose that they're set in mind to do. And what you'll find with that is right at the heart of that are professional standards and qualifications and learning from our members.
But could PropertyMark set up a limited company or some other non-profit organisation to become a regulator?
It could.
And surely if that was the case, wouldn't there be a conflict of interest?
It could indeed. I think it's important that we establish what that regulator looks like to make sure we get the outcome that we require. We do have to consider the role of a regulator compared to a professional body, and that could be arm's length. There are examples, Chris, in various ways of doing this.
Well, you've got the RICS, but they have their Royal Charter, and the Royal Charter quite clearly defines that if there's a conflict between their members and the customer has to come first.
Then there needs to be separation. And RICS is just one example of how that separation can be. I've mentioned before, in the gas industry, that's different again. So at this point, it's really important that PropertyMark establish what we want from a regulator, our role to play in that, then we can be...
Because, I mean, there's other players out there. I mean, you could almost say David Cox has joined Rightmove. They could be setting up the regulator, couldn't they?
But you won't want an individual company to be the regulator.
No, you wouldn't. So, moving forward, what do you think this regulator should do? For its, you know, what should it be involved with government at an early doors to actually make sure that what they want actually translates into something that actually is workable, which is good for customers as well as the trade?
Absolutely. So this is why we're already involved in this, and this has been a long debate over a period of time. So I've sort of come in halfway through.
So are you saying that you have built and helped build regulatory bodies in your previous roles?
Absolutely have. So a couple of examples, one in the gas industry where what has now become the Gas Safe Register. So I was on the HSE panel that determined whether what that regulator would look like. We also, me and my team developed a regulatory model for the waste management industry, and they had a problem with fly tipping and people using municipal waste, the expertise around that. So we presented to DEFRA what a solution would be. They embraced our solution. So I have experience here.
Which is more than what your previous incumbents have had, which is good. But would it be end of the world if whatever arm of PropertyMark didn't get the regulatory body? Would you be happy with that if you didn't get it and the government decided it wanted a completely separate body?
I think PropertyMark needs to be really influential in what the regulator looks like, because actually we are the biggest membership body in the profession. So clearly we have a role to play on that one. I think it's to be determined in terms of exactly what that role would look like. My personal view is there should be an arm's length from being a professional body and the regulator. But, you know, all of these things we can work out as we develop them.
I'd like to say thank you for your time today, Tim. You've been exceptional. And I'd like to ask you some other questions about the estate agency industry, PropertyMark, and the way it's going. Is that okay?
That'd be my pleasure.
Lovely.
Thank
you.